Hi there. Hi there. Hi there. Today I am working with pine. I'm sitting with pine. And I wanted to share the pine with you and tell you what I experience with pine. To give you some background, I make medicine with herbs and plants. And I like to work with plants and be friends with them. And to bring awareness to our relationship to plants. And to possibly make our relationship one with more love and more connection and more reverence, where we are working in a more reciprocal way. So if you've watched my videos before, you know that I make soap, and the base for all of my soaps is a combination of herbs that I soak in olive oil. I'm missing a fingernail. So it's kind of like a little nub. It's like a little nub. I'm getting used to it. So when I make soap, I usually soak a lot of herbs in olive oil, and I use that as a base. I use that as a base for the soaps. And today I looked at my big pine branch that I have in my room that I collected from a tree nearby in December. And part of why I think ASMR is so nice is because it gives us a chance to be with things in an intimate way and to really connect to the objects that are in our lives that are energy and feel at a different frequency than we do, yet they still feel. And ASMR gives us a chance to connect to these things and to be with them. So this pine branch I took from a tree in December. It fell off the tree. And it was filled with moisture. And now it's drying. It's drying. And it's losing its moisture. It's transforming. Have you ever thought about plants like that? That they go through cycles of transformation from one state of being to another, just as we transform. And what if we also went through different states of being, which we do, which all nature does. I like to think of ourselves as humans as part of nature, that we are not so different, and that we can find parts of ourselves in the nature. If we spend time with it, we can learn about ourselves from things that might not look like us, but are like us. Like I was thinking of this pine as hair. Like this is its hair. And it's very fragrant. And sometimes the hair has moisture in it. Like when you're down the shore, or down at the beach, right? There's a lot of moisture in the air, so your skin and your hair is very moist, filled with moisture. But have you ever been to like a desert or somewhere where it's really dry? It dries your skin out, dries your hair out like this. So the pine is going through a state of dryness, and it's transforming. And we are all always able to transform and experience different states of being, different states of and what if we witnessed each other? Maybe plants want to be witnessed as they transform. Maybe they want you to be present with them as they go from one state of being to another. So I like to grow as many herbs as I can and watch them turn from seed to full bloom plant. And I like to, in all of the medicines and tinctures and things that I make, I like to know them in all of their life cycles. And when I discard of them, when their graveyard is my compost pile. So I even see them go through death. And even then they don't die, they transform into dirt and soil that then goes into my garden and becomes spinach and becomes kale and tomatoes. And so it never ends. What once was a pine needle might become a tomato, it's so crazy how things just forever transform, forever transform, and they never really die. So I'm taking these pine needles and I'm breaking them apart, and I'm putting them in a jar. And as I do, I just watch the pine needles become smaller versions of themselves. And already it's a tiny version of what it is, which is a tree. So I break it apart and I say thank you for creating with me, we're gonna make you into a pine needle soup. And I ask which ones want to go in because not all of them want to change yet. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're not ready to change, and that's okay. Maybe we need to be in a certain state for some time. So I break it apart. And I like to use my fingernails instead of scissors because then I get to really be a part of it. I like these earrings. So I wanted to share this process with you a little bit for you to be with the pine and with me. And what do you think of when you think of pine? Is there a memory that comes to you? Do you have a memory of a pine forest? Do you have a memory of pine, of the smell of pine trees? Do you have a memory of feeling safe, of feeling held, or what is the memories that you have with pine? Pine is the evergreen, although I have some pine needles that are brown, but they stay green all year round, and that's pretty special. They always remind me that life is always happening. So even in the winter and the fall when things are starting to die, the evergreens are still green. They are very strong, but they are also pliable. So sometimes, what I have here is an oil that I made last year with pine. It still smells like pine. What I like to use this for is if I'm sore, if my muscles are sore, I like to give myself a massage or ask my partner for a massage. Or if he wants to give me a massage, I have him use the pine oil because it helps relieve muscle tension. And it also has a lot of good vitamins that are just really good for the skin. If you have a cough or a cold, the pine needles are good to make a tea with. So you can try the pine needles or use them fresh. And then you can steep them in a cup for at least 15 minutes. And then pour the tea out. And then drink it. Pine sap is also really good for you. Sometimes I chew it. It tastes like gum. Well, it's like minty. So when I break up the pine, I like to really listen to where it wants to break. And you could just kind of feel it's like all intuition, really. Like, do you remember when you were little and you just felt like you knew everything? Do you remember that? Do you remember when you were little and you had like an intuitive sense of things and you didn't really doubt yourself? Did you ever have that experience? Maybe you were really young, like 4 or 5, maybe even younger, like 3, or maybe you were 7, I don't know. But you were really little and you just knew things. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Well, it's kind of like getting back in touch with that. We have to get back in touch with that intuition. And then we can talk to the plants. So, we listen to our intuition when we work with the plants. Like, I've had this pine branch for months, and it's been sitting here, and I've been watching it transform from moist to dry. And in a way, I'm watching it die. Transformation involves death. And I've just been present with it. I didn't put it away in a drawer or my garage. It's just been kind of sitting out in space to be witnessed as it dries and is getting ready for its next life cycle. And I think that's a really beautiful way to be. Like, don't you want to be witnessed while you transform and become new versions of yourself? And maybe you are the witness. At the end of the day, we are our own witness. But how beautiful is it that there are also trillions of other beings that exist at the same time that are witnessing us too, and that we get to witness and smell and touch and eat. And I always wonder, like, who eats us? You know, if we're just a bigger ant, what eats humans? And maybe it's the bugs. Maybe it's something smaller than us. Sorry, I didn't mean to get dark. I don't think it's dark, it's just like what it is, right? So, what I'm gonna do is break apart as much pine as wants to be broken up. And I'm gonna fill this jar with pine needles, and my intuition said, don't put any other herbs in here. Only put pine. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna make a pine oil and then make pine needle soap. And I put pine needles in the soap too, and it acts as an exfoliator. It's really nice, actually. So, yeah, I'm gonna break up the rest of these pine needles and put them into a jar and then let them soak in olive oil for a couple months, then put them in soap. So, when you are sitting with plants or anybody or anything, especially yourself, be present. Be present. Be present with the things in your life. Be present with this life. Be present with this life. You will only be you once. You will never be this person again. The person who knows what you know, who does what you do. You're so special. And everything around you is so special. Everything we have is a gift. We are truly blessed. So be present. Be present. Be present. Be present. Be present with your life. Be present in your life. And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, the Pine Sisters.